So then this would be the conclusion of the supposed to say 2.4 notes, so this would be 2.4b. We learned enough yesterday to pull off all the homework, but just in case, here's the end of it. I've given you a function, f of x equals, and that is what that says. This says f of x equals 2x plus 3. It's just a fancy way of saying that. It says on the same axes, graph this function and its inverse. Well, I have two options. Oh, you know what? Nope, strike that. Hold on to that thought. Let's go ahead and graph f of x. What is it, 2x plus 3? Yeah, 2x plus 3. It's all linear equation, so there's the plus 3, and our 2x gives us a slope of 2 over 1, puts us here, here, and here. And we're just going to graph this line to the best of our abilities, and I will cheat because I have technology. Ha ha ha. Here we go. There is my f of x. Now, what's interesting about this is it says for part A to graph f and its inverse, which would mean I would need to find the inverse, right? But then part B says find the inverse. So clearly, whoever wrote the book was smoking something. So here's what we're going to do. We are just going to go ahead and jump straight to B. Let's just say, it should have just said graph f. There we go. And then what we'll do down here is we will graph f inverse. Or you know what? No, we won't. I don't even know. This question's all kinds of borked. But here's what we're going to do. We're going to find f inverse using variable interchange first. I want to do that first. I want to switch x and y, and then we'll solve for y. And then we're going to graph it using coordinate geometry. So that way you can see that it's really easy, pretty easy to do. So let's switch x and y. X equals 2y plus 3. Then just to get y by itself, you're just going to subtract 3 from both sides. And then to get y by itself, I'm going to divide everything by 2. Instead of saying x minus 3 all over 2, I want to divide individually. That way it looks like y equals mx plus b. Y equals mx plus b. So I have 1/2 x minus 3/2. And you go, oh man, I don't want to graph 1/2 x minus 3/2. That kind of stinks because its y-intercept is oogly. Okay, well then I'll tell you what we're going to do. How about so that is f inverse of x. How about we find the graph of the f inverse of x by just using coordinate geometry? So what we're going to do is we're going to put a dotted line on y equals x. Dotted line on y equals x. Again, I'm going to cheat because I can. Where are you? There you are. Well, it happened. Okay, there. So there's the line y equals x. And what we're going to do is we are going to find a few coordinates that are on f of x, a few xy's, and we're just going to switch x and y and connect the dots. What are some good ones? Well, a really obvious one is the place where the blue line intersects the line y equals x, because any point on the line of reflection will never move. So that one's not going to go anywhere. We had a y-intercept before of 0, 3. So when you switch the x and y, you're going to get 3, 0. Just like that. And since you have 2 dots, that is enough to connect them. But we might as well find a couple more, just for funsies. How about this one way up here? That one looks good. At 3, 9 will become 9, 3. 9, 3. And that is way more than enough to connect these dots and draw f inverse of x. There we go. Check her out. F inverse of x. Pretty fun. Very simple. So if you have to do this kind of thing, you just find some obvious coordinates, you switch x and y, and you connect your dots. Make sure that you can turn your paper sideways to make that dotted line vertical, and it'll look like a mirror image of something. Just make sure that that's what happens. So if you are doing this on one of my tests, if it says to sketch the inverse, remember, you should be able to turn the page so that the line y equals x is vertical, and it should look like something that is being reflected across that vertical line. Just remember that. Part C says to check that these things are inverses by composition in both directions. So we're just going to compose the two things in both directions. And I don't remember which one it said to do first. So first I'm going to do f of f inverse of x. We'll do that one first. I'm going to plug f inverse, which I just found, into my f of x. So 2 times some stuff plus 3. And that stuff is f inverse. 1/2 x minus 3/2. Going to distribute this 2. And what I end up with is 2 times 1/2. Well, that's 1. Minus 2 times 3, 6, divided by 2, 3. And of course, 3 minus 3 is 0. So you just get x. Because f and f inverse cancel each other and just left x in this direction, we're pretty sure, yeah, these things are inverses, but we do need to check by the composition in the reverse order. So f inverse of f of x.
So do we need to check this because the problem tells us to?
Yes, we have to check both directions because we were told to.
So like if we went to find the inverse, then we wouldn't actually have to check it.
No, if it says just find the inverse, no, you're switching x and y and solving for y, you're good. You don't have to double check that it worked. The only time you check is because they're like, hey, make sure it works. And if you're told to make sure it works, then you have to compose in both directions. And the reason why is because, remember, a parabola is only the inverse of a square root graph if you cut the parabola in half. So it's one of the ones that kind of breaks the rules. And IB specifically says that anything that breaks the horizontal line test says that it does not have an inverse, is what they say. Well, it's not true. They have an inverse. You just have to manipulate it a little bit. But as far as IB is concerned, hey, if that fails the vertical or the horizontal line test, it doesn't have an inverse function, is what it says. It's weird. IB math is strange. So 1/2 of some stuff minus 3/2. And that stuff is f of x, which is 2x plus 3. Distributing that 1/2, it's going to give us half of 2 is 1. There's an x. And half of 3, that's 3 over 2. Oh, look, and then a minus 3 over 2. Yay! 3 over 2 minus 3 over 2 is 0. So yeah, because it just left us an x in both directions, those two things are confirmed inverses of one another. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy.